People that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination.
Hello, everyone, and happy Monday to you. Today is January the 27th, 2014. I want to welcome you to LesBrown's Monday Night Motivation with world-renowned motivational speaker, speech coach, and best-selling author, LesBrown. And for those of you that have joined us before, you know that this is the place, your place, for motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. I am Anita Hicks, your host, motivational speaker, life coach, and business trainer. I want to thank you so much for investing in yourself and joining us tonight. And it sounds like I hear Mr. Brown in the background huffing and puffing because I'm sure he has something that he's going to bring to the table tonight. Sounds like is that smoke you boy, or is it fire?
No, I'm not huffing and puffing. No, I'm here in Las Vegas, and so I just got here in the lobby. I'm going to be doing some coaching with some people who want to become motivational speakers and take their message globally and learn how to earn 7 figures doing it. So I'm doing a little consulting here while I'm here. But I want to thank you for hosting the call. You and Stacy always do a great job, and I appreciate that very much. I want to thank everybody for being on the call. Now, have you done all the announcements?
We do the announcements at the end, Les. We can do it any way you want us to do it. Stacy's there. She's ready. She's available. So what would you like us to do?
I would like you to do the announcements because that will allow me to get to an elevator and get up to the room and won't have all this noise in the background.
Okay. Well, we can do that. Stacy,
fantastic.
Take it away. Stacy N.C. Grant, take it away.
Thank you, my beautiful platinum sister Anita, and let's great to hear your voice. So I'm going to start off the announcement with a special one that Lester is going to be doing a special training in Atlanta, February 21st to the 22nd, and you're going to call you're going to call 954 724-0900. I'm saying it slow so you can get it. 954-724-0900. And you can also log on to eventsbyarise.com in order to find out how you can get this special training with Les and his baby girl, Ona Brown. So make sure that you check that information out, February 21st through the 22nd. Arise. Eventsbyarise.com, EVENTSBYARISE.com, or call 954-724-0900. Then, as we tell you every single week, you can join LesBrown's Platinum Speakers and be a part of the work that they're doing to bring more voices of hope, as Mr. Brown encourages each and every one of us. So you can start off your week on Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and join Ona Brown's Own Your Dreams radio show at www.onabrown.com. On Tuesdays, you have an opportunity to connect with Valerie Ann Parker herself for Hot Soul Topics for the Soul on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can log on to arisebybmp.com to get further information, or Blog Talk Radio /Soul Topics. And then on the first and third Tuesdays, you can join Evelyn Pope, a.k.a. the Heart Lady. And you can join her on Blog Talk Radio /Heart Talk with Miss E. MS and the letter E. The first and third Tuesdays of every month, and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Wednesdays, you can join Sean D. Arnold, Business Bootcamp Online. You can check her out Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. And you can join her again for Legal Biz Cafe on Blog Talk Radio at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's blogtalkradio.com/Legal Biz Cafe. And you can join Trish for her show on intentionradio.com/Trish, TRISH hyphen talks, Trish Talks. And you can also join Andy Enriquez on Thursdays for Show Up For Your Life at www.showupforyourlife.com, and that is at 8 p.m. on Thursdays, every single Thursday, and you go to www.sufyl.com for Andy Enriquez and the Show Up For Your Life movement. Anita Hicks offers free coaching opportunities, and for those of you who want to get a free 15-minute consultation and find out how you can engage with the training from Anita Hicks, our lovely host, you can join her at www.anitahicks.com or email her at anita@anitahicks.com, ANITAHICKS.com. And if you want to connect with me, Stacey N.C. Grant, that's STACIE-NC, like North Carolina, Grant, GRANT.com, and you can sign up for my next opportunity for a coaching class or a free consultation and upcoming events. To connect with all of the Platinums, join Facebook and go to LesBrown Platinum Speakers Network. That's the LesBrown Platinum Speakers Network. Put that in your search bar, and you can connect with all of the Platinum speakers and some of the additional offerings that they have. To connect with Mr. Brown, go to Facebook. It's brown.les. That's brown.les on Facebook. Join the community, be able to interact with Mr. Brown, get all of his wonderful, encouraging, and motivating posts every single day, and find out about upcoming events and programs. And stay connected as he builds communities of hope with 100,000 voices of hope. So we look forward to connecting with all of you at the Platinum family. And at this time, Mr. Brown will be back on the line.
Thank you.
Back on. I'm back on.
Perfect timing.
Mr. Brown,
Wonderful.
you.
All right, Les, well, we're ready for you. I know you're always. So we're going to make the lesson. I think we're getting a little feedback.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
We didn't get it until you got on the phone, so is there something going on?
What's causing that?
Okay, we don't hear it now. All right, I think we're good.
Did you mention that when I'm going to be in Atlanta?
Yes, she mentioned that. She mentioned that as Valerie's event, she gave the telephone number, Valerie Parker, and we're going to give it again, and that's this weekend. Yes, we did.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, and we encourage everybody that's serious about reaching their goals in 2014 to be there, because we're going to share with you what most people are not aware of, and that is what it takes to make it in 2014 and beyond. There's a book two books that I want to encourage everybody to get. One is called The Road to Your Best Stuff by my mentor, Mike Williams, which I'm going to do an interview with him, The Road to Your Best Stuff. And the other one is Average is Over. Average is Over. And the reason that it's important for you to learn everything you can about this particular book, but about who you need to be and what you have to do so that you're not replaced by technology or outsourcing. This book is a very powerful book. There's another one, but this is one that I encourage you to start with right now. I want to talk to you about a man and things that I learned from him, who I met him when I was a junior in high school. And every time I give a speech, I talk about him, Mr. Leroy Washington. He passed last Wednesday. He was 87. And Mr. Washington was a man that I really had high regard and high respect for him. He was a teacher that came to school looking like a teacher. Unlike today, when you go in schools, you can't tell the teachers from the students because of the way they dress. But Mr. Washington, he always wore a shirt and a tie. And he held himself to high standards. And I've never known my biological mother or father, but I attached myself to him. I admired his confidence and his eloquent style of speaking. I'll never forget when he was speaking at Booker T. Washington High School in Overtown in Miami, Florida, and I was walking down the hall. He was talking to the graduating seniors, and he said to them, "You have something special. You have the ability to make Booker T. Washington proud. You have the ability to make your family proud, your community proud. You have greatness. And as you go forward in the future, there's several things that you must do." And he went on to talk about what those things were. But to synthesize the things that I learned from him is what this call is about today, as I prepare to go to Miami on this coming Friday to eulogize him on Saturday. And number one, he talked about the value of confidence, of believing in yourself, and that you have to work to develop that, to fortify that, to strengthen that. And so he encouraged me to read various books. I remember one of the books that I read by Robert Collier called Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Those are books that really grabbed me. The Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Those books really captured my attention and really put me on a track of self-development. He talked about the value of having a self-development library. He introduced me to Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World, and Lead the Field, the series that he put out. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your dreams, the things that Mr. Washington shared with me in 1962, those things are more important now than ever before. Having mental resiliency, being able to overcome the challenges of life, because life will always have challenges. There will always be things that you have to deal with. Viktor Frankl says that we have in life things that he calls unavoidable suffering, that life is it's full of a lot of pain, and you're going to have setbacks and disappointments. But what you have to do is work on yourself, because you can tap into your mental resiliency and your courage to overcome those things, and don't allow those things to define you. The other thing that he taught by his example and the actors that he trained, because I was in special education, I was never one of the students in his class. I was one of the people who hung around the people that he trained. I learned most of my speaking from Dr. Anthony Sweeting. His style of speaking fascinated me. His style of speaking captured my imagination. And as a kid, even though we were just 1 year apart, he was my hero to this day, the greatest speaker that I'd ever heard. And I patterned my style, the range that I have, moments of being able to create in a presentation that's riveting and having pregnant pauses and having an audience on the edge of their seat. I've never seen anyone do it like Dr. Anthony Sweeting. And Mr. Washington trained him and directed him, but Anthony was the most brilliant student he ever had. And so even though I did not take the classes from Mr. Washington, but Anthony and I became very close friends, and I learned in detail and watched him and studied him as Mr. Washington drilled him. I would come and stand outside of the wooden portables and look in the window, and then pretty soon it started raining one day, and they invited me in, and I spent hours watching him, developing and pulling out the genius of Dr. Anthony Sweeting. We called him Bundles at the time. And I said, Bundles, I want to speak like you. And it really changed my life. I did not know, as I was watching Anthony, who won the Elks Oratorical Contest in Miami, Florida, in Dade County, and all over the state of Florida, and went out of state and competed. And I just never knew at that time that I was watching my destiny. I think it's very important that you just really begin to monitor and cut down on the time, if you're doing it, on how much you watch the news and how much you watch television, and really pay more attention to what is it that you're allowing to come in your mind. Avoid negative conversations. My twin brother called me the other day. I love Wesley. And I said, Wesley, listen to me. Just tell me. Go to the bottom line. I don't want to hear the story. What are you dealing with? Tell me how I can help you. And he wanted me to hear the story. I don't want that head trash. So I hung up. Now, I know that's not right. I know it's rude. But I don't think that being accommodating to let somebody put trash in your head, it stays longer. Negative information in your brain, it stays longer and it's amplified and it's stronger than positive information. So they did a study, and the study indicated if I tell you you can't do something or have a negative conversation, that somebody else has to come along and say you can do it, or engage in a positive conversation of something that has a higher standard, and have to do that 16 times to neutralize that one drop of negative information in your brain. So when you are exposed to negative information, it affects the way your brain operates. It affects your attitude about yourself. It drains your energy. There are some people that when you hear the sound of their voice, all the energy goes out of your body, because that sound, they have the breath of a vampire. That sound, those emotional vampires just suck all the life out of you, because they're not there for your good, and you know it, and your body knows it, and you can feel it in your heart. Your blood pressure goes up, and you sometimes you break out in a cold sweat, or you get tensed and can feel tightness in your gut because of that voice, because of the source on the other end of that conversation or that text that you got. There's some calls that you shouldn't even take, because you know it's not about anything. You know it's not about anything but drama and foolishness and things that have nothing to do with your living your dream. All of us have an expiration date on our life. Nobody's figured out how to get out of life alive. Mr. Washington had a full life, and he lived life on his terms, and that's one of the things I admire about him. And I want to say to you, part of living life on your terms is focusing on developing your mind, focusing on saturating your mind with positive information. And I really applaud you for listening to the call each week. Not because I'm doing it and the other speakers who come on here, but listen, with all the negative stuff that's going on in this world, with all the stuff that's going on the news and in neighborhoods all across the country and around the world, you need something to counteract that. Or you'll be depressed, you'll be disconnected from your power, you'll be filled with a level of anxiety and angst. I was talking to my daughter. She spent some time with me yesterday, one of my daughters, Samir, and we were talking about she'd been having anxiety attacks. And we started talking about, what are you watching? What are you listening to? And then we begin to monitor that and start cutting back on the things that creates that kind of drama and anxiety. And you literally have to do things, as I told her, playing calming music, use books that you can read that will spiritualize your thoughts, have a routine that you can get into every day that can keep you in a peaceful state of mind. Here's the other thing. Not only must you work on your mind, but the other thing, if you want access to a better life, trust me on this, work on your communication skills. I saw a young man today. I'm in Los Angeles and flying, getting on a plane to fly to L.A., and he had a cap on backwards, and he literally had his pants below his butt, not just halfway. I'm talking about all the way down, right under his butt. Now, let me share something with you. When you see this level of insanity and low consciousness today, that tells you about this thing called life, and that there's a mixture of everything out here. Jesus said, all power is in my hands. But he also said, oh, by the way, the poor will always be among you. And as I was looking at this young man, there was nothing that you can say, because there's no way, as far down as his pants were and his whole behind was showing, that somebody has said something to him, and this is who he is. This is who he is. And one of the things that I think that's very important, if you're serious about making it in life, there are several things that Mr. Washington taught me. One was to develop my mind. The other was practice the principle of OQP, only quality people. Separate yourself from the kids who aren't making good grades, Mr. Washington. Stick around the students who are making good grades. And I did, like Marcus Smith and Gloria Mitchell, and I would copy off their papers. I sat by the smart kids because I'm a little slow. I mean to tell you, I sat by Boo, and I was looking on everybody's papers. Erica Williams, I know all the smart ones. They had been etched in my brain. I would sit right next to them. I had real good eyesight then. I didn't need glasses then. That's why my neck is a little long. I would copy off them. But I made it through. I made it through, you know. I knew my knowledge was good. Anytime they put you back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, say, you don't belong in here, then you fail again in the 8th grade, you got to do something. So I had to do something. And I would ask Anthony. He would help me as best he could, but he wasn't in class with me. So I sat by the smart people. You know, they asked Jacqueline Onassis, who was the President John F. Kennedy's wife, if you lost all of your money, your wealth, what would you do to get it back? And she said, I would go to the most expensive restaurant and sit near the people who are wealthy and successful and order a glass of water and eavesdrop on their conversations. And in a year, I'll get everything back that I lost. I said, whoa. That was impressive. I'm saying to you, you want to surround yourself with people that you can learn from, people that you can grow from, people who are earning 10, 15, 20, 100 times more than you're earning, people who are very knowledgeable. And as a result of that, being around them, you're going to learn some things. Being around them, it's going to bring your income up. Being around them, it's going to cause you to soar to new heights. You'll begin to realize they breathe air just like you do. They have to eat food to nourish their bodies just like you do. And that's what I did. I was determined to get out of Liberty City and Overtown. I was determined not to go to jail, end up with a criminal record, and then be locked out of the job market. I made it my business to have relationships with people who had homes, even though I didn't have one, and was not brought up in one. People who had money and education and knowledge that I could learn from so that I could one day be able to achieve that myself. I always quote Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. And I can tell you, I'm amazed at the number of people who allow themselves, and particularly women who dummy themselves down to be with guys who have nothing on their mind other than who's going to make the playoff in football or basketball and can't even afford season tickets. Listen, make up your mind is something that Mr. Washington taught me to do, to upgrade your relationships in 2014. Look at the people that's in your circle, family members and friends alike, and ask yourself, what is this relationship doing to me? Get a clock and put it by the phone or look at your watch. I have a limit of how long I talk to a negative person. I'm telling you, I don't care if it's my relatives. I have a limit. I'll give them about 3 to 5 minutes, and that's it. I don't need no more empty trash in my mind. You got to limit it because they'll go on and on and on and on, tell you about their problems on and on and on, and they have no intention of doing anything about it. And I learned that from Mr. Washington, and I will always be indebted to him and thankful that he said, Les, come out from among them, stay away from kids who have low grades, who are about to fall out of school, who's sneaking around here drinking in school and getting high on marijuana and heroin and don't have any future for themselves. Stay away from them, Brown. And I said, yes, sir, I will. And I followed his advice, and it made a difference for me. The next thing is, and that is effective communication skills. He said, be conscious of how you talk. Because once you open your mouth, You tell the world who you are. I can't tell you the number of situations where I've been in, and because of I took his advice, I started listening to people who were very educated, like Earl Nightingale, Paul Harvey, the motivational speakers that I listened to, Dr. Dennis Waitley, and people who did the news. I was patterning myself after them so that I did not have to go up and grow up in this world having people know once I opened my mouth that I was not educated. I educated myself through surrounding myself with people like Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, who's been my mentor for 4 years. People like Dr. Williams that you don't know, but Dr. Saxton Williams, that was a very, very articulate person that just admired his style of communication, and I wanted to be like that. I studied people. I listened to audio programs by Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I studied them. Adam Clayton Powell out of New York, Keep the Faith Baby, a congressman who was very controversial but very articulate. I read Marcus Garvey, Rise Up, You Mighty People. I read Winston Churchill, The Truth is Incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. I read Dr. Howard Thurman, who was the mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who wrote, There's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. I'm telling you, by listening to and reading people who have knowledge and abilities and skills to communicate, it will change your life. Frederick Douglass, who said if you help a man to stand to his feet, if he does not have enough gumption to lock his knees, when you let him go, his head will hit the pavement. I studied all of these people. I'm suggesting to you, if you stay away from negative people, if you minimize the telephone time and the conversation time and how much time you spend with them, and you spend more time reading and studying and developing yourself and developing a dimension about yourself that can complement intelligent machines, if you do that, trust me on this, if you read one book a month in your area of interest, the average American reads one book a year. If you read one book a month, I decided to read 3 books a week. But if you read one book a month in 6 years, in 5 years, when the average American would have read only one book, 5 books rather, when the average American would have read 5 books, you'd have read 60 books. That will make you an expert. There's no speaker on the planet that know more about how the brain works, how to communicate and change people from the platform, how to mesmerize an audience like I do. I don't tell you this to impress you, but to impress upon you. I work at it. I read now. And I'm saying to you, if you take the time, if you decide out of 24 hours, I'm going to spend an hour on my mind. If you just decide to do that, if you just decide I'm going to read one book a month, I'll just start reading 20 to 30 pages a day. If you discipline yourself to do that, and if you decide I'm going to be conscious of my private conversations, I'm going to be conscious of my grammar, how I express myself. I'm going to get a coach to have someone to help me to begin to become more effective in my communication skills. If you apply for a job today, you have to go online to apply for a job. And then you have to go in and be interviewed. And that's where the screening process takes place. I don't care how brilliant you are, but if you can't pass the interview, and they will have sometimes in situations, I know some people who've had as many as 30 and 40 interviews, and 5 and different people of various departments were waiting to interview them next. I'm telling you, your ability to express yourself gives you access to another life. Your ability to develop your mind expands your vision beyond your circumstances and mental conditioning. And your ability to develop a network which develops and determines your net worth will begin to help you to go to the next level. This is a time you want to surround yourself with a community of collaborative, achievement-driven relationships, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. There are people who get together as a group to watch Scandal, watching somebody else live their dream. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying to you, you want to get together with some people who want to talk about living their dreams, who want to talk about making some more money, who want to talk about something else other than whether or not the Miami Heat will three-peat. No, this is the time you've got to secure and fortify your financial future. One sickness can wipe out a fortune. So when I go to talk to this audience of people this coming weekend about Mr. Leroy Washington, the man who gave me my first tie, who taught me how to tie a tie, who gave me shirts that he used to wear. I used to go to school with his shirts on, looked like I came to a Halloween party because I wore his coats. I wanted to have his coat on my back. I wanted to wear his shirts. I wanted to put on his tie. We were not the same size. I looked very funny. I didn't care anybody laughing at me. I didn't care about that. No. I can see him now when he would drive me home and sit in the car and talk to me for hours about life. Listen to me as I recited some of the things, some of the roles of the plays that I was asking him, could I be in that, sir? He and Mike Williams, the only fathers that I ever had, who talked to me about what it takes to be a man. Yeah, last Wednesday we lost a good man. Good man, good man. I hope that you have someone in your life that has impacted you as he has impacted me. And my goal before leaving this planet is to touch as many people's lives as I possibly can and to impact and change their lives with my voice as I heard his voice, speaking to the graduating senior class, and I was a junior. You have the ability to make your family proud, Booker T. Washington proud, not the largest, but the best. And I remember when he got a standing ovation and he went down the back steps of the auditorium, and I followed him. And I said, Mr. Washington, what is it, young man? I said, do you remember me? He said, no. I said, I'm Leslie. I have a twin brother, Wesley. My mother, Mamie Brown, she works in the cafeteria here, sir. She just got started, and she told you to look out for me. I was in your class one day, and you told me to work a problem out, and I said I was looking for MacArthur Stevens, that I wasn't one of your students, and you said, do it anyhow. And I said, I can't. The other students started laughing, and they said, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. He's DT. He's the dumb twin. His brother's smart. And I agreed with them. And you came up to me, and you looked me in the eyes, sir, and you said, don't ever say that again, young man. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I said, do you remember me now? He said, yes, you're Mamie's boy. You're one of the twins. I said, yes, sir. I said, I heard you speaking to the seniors. He said, aren't you a junior? I said, yes, sir. But when you spoke, sir, I felt you were talking to me. I was walking down the hall, and I felt I had to come in the auditorium. And I stood in the back, and I listened to you, sir. And you said that the students were exceptional. You said that they had the ability to manifest greatness. You said, sir, that they had the ability to make their parents proud, to make their school proud, Booker T. Washington proud. He said, yes. I said, I want to make my mama proud. Can I do that? He said, yes, you can, sir. It's possible. And he turned to walk away. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, yes. You said, sir, at the end, if one student here understood and captured what you said, that you're being brought to Florida, to Miami, to Dade County, to Booker T. Washington, and Overtown would not have been in vain. He said, yes, I did. I said, sir? He said, what is it? I said, I'm the one, sir. I'm the one. Remember my name. Remember my name. I want to make my mother proud. You remember my name, sir. I swear you will hear my name again. I'm Leslie Calvin Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. You will hear my name again, sir. And years later, when I produced my first PBS special, and I called friends to tell him to turn on the television in Miami and watch it. It's called You Deserve, that received a Grammy. And when the opening of the program said, ladies and gentlemen, You Deserve with LesBrown, Mr. Washington was seated in front of this television. He said, Edith, that's his wife, Edith, come quick. It's the dumb twins. He said, whoa, my God. My God, she said he was amazed. She said he watched with tears in his eyes, and he was not an emotional man. And he called me in Detroit. He said, may I speak to Mr. Brown, please? I said, who's calling? He said, you know who this is. I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, you were the one, weren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, but you were so crazy. I said, I know, but I'm rich now. Mr. Leroy Washington, what a man. I'm so thankful that he touched my life. He was a father that I never had. I'm so thankful. It's an honor to come to Miami, to go there, and to eulogize him this Saturday morning. Yes. That's going to be a tough one, but I think I'm going to make him proud. He used to always say, and I would end the call this night with his favorite quote, and I dedicate this to all of you. I usually say this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. But this was Mr. Washington's favorite quote. Act well your part, for there all the honor lies. Mr. Washington, we release you and we bless you on your next journey. And so it is. Anita?
And so it is, and so it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well spoken. Well said, Les.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to make him proud this week.
You've made him proud.
Thank
you.
I appreciate it.
Well,
thank you.
Les, I don't think there's anything else to be said after you said. I think that it's all been said.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I love you. I'm a little emotional now, but I'll be talking to you.
Love you too, Les.
Love you. Love you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Well, callers, you've heard what Mr. Brown had to say. Powerful words to live back. Meditate on that. And with that, I think we're going to end this call and encourage you to join us again next Monday night. Keep Les Brown, Mr. Washington, Dr. Sweeting in your prayers, and we'll keep you in our prayers as well. And I want to remind you, as I always do, never, ever give up on your dreams, because the world awaits your light, your authentic gift. God bless you, and God bless your dreams. Good night, everyone. Good night, Stacy.
Good night, everyone.
People that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination.